Hello and welcome to the North Carolina Tyranitarheels draft analysis for the NPL Minors Season 2. Boy, that was a mouthful. Okay, so let's just hop right into it, I guess. As you can see here, my first pick is Skarmory. Um, this art design is just by some random guy I found on DeviantArt that I liked his art style. He did not have all the Pokemon, so some of them are going to be different, but most of them are going to look like this. I'll just put the link in the description to make it fair use and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know him personally, I just like the art style. Anyways, Skarmory. So, my first pick was actually supposed to be Garchomp, but that was immediately sniped. What a good start, right? Skarmory was supposed to be my second pick, but it was really just too important to let it pass and try to find another good first pick to replace Garchomp. And just because there was a slight dispute about Skarmory with a friend because we both wanted it, and he was kind enough to let me have it. So I didn't want it to somehow be picked up before I got to it in the second round and just make all that arguing for nothing, So it was best to get this first round. And basically, there are a lot of other steel types, but a lot of the good ones were taken during free agency. So I really wanted to get a good steel type right off the bat because I feel like there weren't really many that I would feel very comfortable with using. And Skarmory is a great one because it has very few weaknesses. Just the flying typing really pairs well with the steel typing. It's a great spike stacker, which is something my teams often tend to lack. I know it's not necessary all the time, but it's good to have it on teams, I feel. Just having that option there is always nice. And so kind of getting that roll out of the way this early is very nice. It can stealth rock, it can defog, it has a bunch of different roles it can do, and whenever I'm drafting, I always like to try to fulfill every role as much as I can. So yeah, that's the main reason I drafted Skarmory first. So next, we have Fable and Gengar, and I thought that was kind of cool. How Gengar is like the shadow of the Fable, and they're kind of like mirror images of each other. So I thought it was kind of cool that I accidentally kind of put both of them on the same team. Fable was my franchise pick, but it was technically picked round 3, so we're going to talk about Gengar first. So basically there was still kind of a hole that was yet to be filled from the snipe, because Skarmory just kind of moved up from where it was supposed to be, and so then I didn't really know what to get here. Basically, so round 3 was already Michael Fable because of the franchise, and I didn't really expect to get this round 4, but if it was there, I was going to try to pick up Cresselia and get a really disgusting core going on with Fable, Skarmory, Cresselia. But yeah, Cresselia was actually taken round 2, so I just had this really big hole in my team from 2 different snipes. Cresselia, I wouldn't call it that much of a snipe because I wasn't really expecting to get it anyways, but yeah. So I had to pick something, and I thought Gengar was the best option. I just really love its speed, its great special attack, has a pretty good move pool, and it's just a great mon overall. I feel it's often underestimated in League format. I've used it before, I know how to use it, and it's just a great mon. As I said earlier, its dual stabs are really nice. I have some interesting things I can do with it. I don't want to reveal too much, but I have some ideas with it. And yeah, so that's basically Gengar. Not too much to say there. Well, actually, ghost typing that serves as a spin blocker, which is nice. yeah, I think that's basically it. This picture is very blurry. Well, whatever. Or, blurry, pixelated, I don't know which, but you know, one of those. So yeah, next we have Fable, which I really liked using this picture for both of them, but the DeviantArt guy did do a Fable thing, so I will turn the slide there. Yeah, so we have Fable, which is my franchise. I was originally not going to franchise at all because I wanted to start new, fresh. I always enjoy trying new things in League format, and you know, I almost didn't draft Gengar because of that too, because I'd already used it once, and you know, I wanted to try something else. But you know, I didn't get much of a chance to use it because you know, the season ended early. So yeah, I still think it's okay because I didn't really get to try it out too much, but I got to try it out enough where I feel like I can use it well. So it's kind of that perfect middle ground, I feel. But yeah, the reason I franchised Fable was because originally the franchises were going to be round two, but then that was kind of unfair to the picks who had, or the people who had later draft picks. So basically, what we decided was to have everyone past the first half of picks get their franchises round three instead of round two. And so it was sort of just impossible to pass up Clefable as a round three pick, you know, because Clefable can easily go round one, and getting it round three for free is just it's too good to pass up, you know. So as much as I wanted to start new, I felt like I had to get Clefable. I actually said to multiple people multiple times that if I were to franchise anything, it would have been Latios. That was back when franchise for a second round, and I said like if I was going to franchise, it'd be Latios because I loved how much it did that season. But then when they became round three, you know, I was like, Latios just isn't good enough to be my round three. Like, or no, it is, but like Clefable is too good to pass up basically. And if I wanted Latios, I could just get it round two. You know, I could just draft it myself. You know, I didn't need to franchise it, and so that's why I went with Clefable overall. And yeah. I never really mentioned what Fable does. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but you know, it has two great abilities in Unaware and Magic Guard. You know, both those really make it what it is, and is probably the best fairy type that we have right now, and that's really good because you know, fairy types can be hard to come by sometimes. Or I should say good fairy types can be somewhat hard to come by. I really dislike using the lower tier fairies, except for maybe like Granbull. I really enjoy using that, but like, you know, or Bromatisse, Slurpuff, you know, they have their potential. I just don't really enjoy using them myself. So that's why I'm very happy to get Clefable and just you know, constantly keep this good fairy on my team instead of having to settle for like a lower tier one. So next we have Hidragon. This picture is also pretty bad, but whatever. Yeah, Hidragon. I just knew I needed a dragon. You know, Garchomp was sniped, and you know, I needed a dragon to replace it. And Hidragon's typing just fit the best, I feel. You know, I was debating getting Dragonite just because it was, you know, the OU dragon. It seemed to be better in a lot of different things. I was really debating it up until it got to my pick, and then right before my pick, the guy before me took Dragonite, so I was just like, oh, thanks, you made my decision a lot easier. And honestly, I'm happy that I got Hidragon over Dragonite. I just really prefer the typing that goes with my team. You know, dark typing is really nice, synergizing with like Fable and Skarmory and just everything else I have, you know, the Gengar. It's just really nice for everything. You know, Hidragon's great because it can go physical or special. I've even seen like a defensive variant to stop an Entei one time. I don't remember who did that, but that was really cool. And just like, it's very versatile, but it's also very strong, and it's really like a fantastic mon in the format, I feel. This is another one I've actually drafted before, but never really got to use properly. So that's kind of funny how that worked out. Um, it has the weakness to fairy, of course, that you kind of always have to watch out for. But I have Skarmory, which I feel like can check, like help that out a lot. So yeah. Next, I drafted Superior. I just feel like, well, first of all, Superior is a mon that I've been wanting to try for a very long time in draft format. I really like its speed, mainly, and just its ability to spam a very powerful Leaf Storm, and then instead of getting, you know, neutralized by it, you end up becoming even stronger. And I find that very fascinating about Superior, using a strong move to become even stronger. Um, and like its weakness is its move pool, of course. It's really hard to do anything besides spam Leaf Storm, and it's not very versatile because of this. But it's just a very strong mon, and I felt like it fit my team really well because I drafted a lot of checks and counters to Superior, and so that means that they cannot be used against me. Like I have Unaware Fable, which would stop Superior in its tracks basically because it couldn't set up. I have Skarmory, which just again stops Superior in its tracks, and yeah, so I feel like there aren't going to be as many things to stop Superior out there since I have a lot of them, and so I'm very interested in using this. Next we have Imbor, which it's kind of funny. We have like multiple pairings of different things. We have the Clefable Gengar thing, and now we have the Superior and Imbor together. It's just funny how that kind of worked out accidentally in both those scenarios. Imbor is another one of those mons I've been wanting to try in draft format for a very, very long time. It just looks to be so good, and I've seen it work well in multiple different scenarios. And at this point, my team was lacking a lot in the physical offense side. Um, Basically my only primarily like physical attacking user was Skarmory, which obviously is not designed to be an attacker. So I needed something with just some raw power, and I needed a fire type, and I didn't have a fighting type. So this fit perfectly that it was still around, and so I grabbed it. It's as simple as that. Next, I drafted Scolipede. Scolipede was just one of those picks that was, it was somehow still there, at this point in the draft. It was like fairly late. I'm pretty sure it's over halfway at this point. Um, and it was just such a good value pick for this late in the draft. And once again, I needed that physical offense. I really love the speed stat in this format. It's just really, it's my favorite stat in the format because like you can tailor it to exactly what you need, and because of that, there's a lot of EVs you can have left over if you have a very high speed stat, and you can use those to put into bulk and stuff and really live some hits that people wouldn't expect you to. And so Scolipede's near infinite pool of speed makes it really nice EVs wise. Of course, there's still going to be those times where you want to outspeed things, um, even if you're not at +1, or there may be things you need to outspeed at +1. It's very situational, but I think a lot of the times I can pour in some bulk on this thing and live some hits surprisingly. Um, it's just a very strong attacker. It has that obvious, oh, herp to derp, I'm gonna baton pass some speed, and uh, that's something that's obviously always an option, but just by itself, I feel like it's so good too. Just being able to hit very hard, and its dual stabs are pretty nice. It has other moves as well that it can hit things with. Um, yeah, it's just a nice mon overall, I feel. Next, I drafted Hitmonlee. I normally don't like to have too many dual um, typings. I already have two poison types, and now I have two fighting types. But Hitmonlee, I felt at the time, excuse me, was very necessary because I really needed the priority and I needed the rapid spin. I didn't have either of those things, and Hitmonlee just kind of fit those roles. Um, but I'm kind of considering giving up Hitmonlee to free agency or to trade at some point, just because I end up filling those roles in later, kind of. Not the exact roles, but you'll kind of see. Um, but yeah, I feel like Hitmonlee might be able to get some use before I trade it off, or I might not even trade it off at all. I don't know. But yeah, it's just a mon that's there. Unburdened's nice. I think this team pretty much has the theme of speed. With Gengar, with Superior, with Scolipede, and this thing getting unburdened. This is a very fast team, and once again, I feel very comfortable with fast things. I really enjoy putting those EVs in just the perfect point. So yeah, um, I really like that my team has a lot of speed. I like the offensive things on my team, anyways. The only real thing that doesn't is Imbor, which I feel like I can still work with, just because it has the bulk to live hits, and you can still, it has a good enough speed to where you can maneuver it a little bit. You can always give it a choice scarf. There's lots of things you can do with it. Hidragon has some middling speed, but that's very easy to work with as well. So yeah. Moving on. Next we have Lantern. So basically, I decided very early in the draft that I was going to get this, around the time where I was like, dang, I have way too much special offense. Around the time I needed to get that Imbor. I realized I didn't have a water type, I didn't have an electric type. Water types tend to like to spam Scald. Electric types tend to like to spam Volt Switch. And both of those are special moves, which normally go with special attackers. So I didn't want to get two separate special attackers for those moves and those types. So I decided that the best thing to do would be to draft Lantern somewhere later on in the draft. And so that is what I did. I think it's very nice for my team. It synergizes with Skarmory perfectly, I feel, typing-wise. I think Heal Bell is very nice on it because, it kind of takes the pressure off Clefable and, stops giving it such a 4-move slot syndrome. Like, that's the problem I really ran into with Clefable a lot last season, was like, what move do I put on this thing? Because I can only have 4. And, that's what makes Clefable so good, how much it can do. And, not having to pressure it to Heal Bell is very nice. And of course, like I said, it has the Scald and Volt Switch. Has very few weaknesses, and with those I can maybe put some berries on it. Lantern has a lot of potential. I feel Volt Switching is always nice, gaining that momentum. Things that would like to switch into Volt Switch, aka ground types, don't enjoy Scalds. So, yeah, I think Lantern is a great mon in the format, and I'm excited to use it. Next, we have Mega Sableye. So, here's the guy that I said is gonna kind of make Hitmonlee's roles I wanted it to fill kind of useless. So, I decided that I really felt like I needed some more bulk. I had Skarmory, I had Clefable, I had Lantern, but that was just about it. A lot of my team was offense, at this point. And Sableye again synergizes very well with Skarmory, Fable, and Lantern. Like all those three, or three, that's much more than three. All those mons together, they have no like weaknesses on their own, or not on their own, but I'm sorry, I cannot talk today. Actually, no, I won't do that. Yeah, basically, there is no, like, if you look at a typing chart, and like if you go to the Team Magma team builder thing, and you put all those mons in, there's not a specific type that worries that core. They all protect each other perfectly, and they all have a ton of immunities. I believe it ends up adding to 8, and so yeah. And that's why I really wanted Sableye, just for that really good core that it has with all my other defensive mons. I kind of got persuaded against drafting this, just because I already had Gengar, and felt like there might be some typing redundancies. But Gengar is a very offensive mon. Sableye is a more defensive mon. I feel like they can kind of go their own separate ways and still work together. Ghost is a type that really hurts a lot of teams a lot, and that's what makes Gengar so good. Because everyone focuses on drafting around these cores, the Fire, Water, Grass, the Fairy, Dragon, Steel. Ghost doesn't care about any of that. None of that resists Ghost. And so that's why Ghost hurts so many teams. And so having the ability to have 2 Ghost types is very nice as well, I feel. And yeah, just from the beginning, I wanted a disgusting core when I wanted Cresselia, and so I was kind of able to get that with the Mega Sableye. I'm not a stall user. I've never really been that good with defensive mons. That's why I tried to draft a lot of offense as well to go with this. And I think I did good in that regard. Mega Sableye can hit pretty hard too if it wants to, so there's that. But yeah, it has the priority, it has the magic bounce. That's kind of what makes Hitmonlee not as useful anymore. So I'm kind of debating on whether I want to trade it out or not. I probably will, I just don't know what for yet. I know Salem wanted Hitmonlee pretty bad, so I may trade it for like Hawlucha or something if he would be okay with that. Of course, I haven't offered it to him or anything, but it's an option that's there for me if I decide to go that route. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Lastly, I drafted Piloswine. I didn't have a ground type at this point. I kind of wanted Mamoswine earlier in the draft. I think it was the same round I wanted Scolipede. I was like, I'll get one of those two because I don't expect them both to drop to me. And of course, Mamoswine did not drop to me. So I got Scolipede and ended up settling with Piloswine. I think Piloswine can be a great mon for the team. Having that electric community is always nice. I did have Lantern already, but sometimes it might want to run like Water Absorb or something. So it's nice to have multiple options, and I especially love, like, this is a very bulky ground type and one that doesn't have a 4x weakness, so you can't just like tack on HP, whatever to deal with it, onto your electric types. For example, if I had Garchomp like I wanted, a Jolteon or some other electric type could just run HP Ice, and it would really, the 4x weaknesses on ground types are very crippling just because of those electric type hidden powers. Not the hidden powers that are electric type, but hidden powers from electric types. So yeah, that's why I really like having Piloswine on this team. It's not going to be a very versatile mon. It has lots of different moves it can run, but you're basically always going to want the same item in EVLite. So yeah, there's that. But I think its typing really makes up for that, and it can do a lot. It's a great Stealth Rock user, which again, I have a lot of Stealth Rock users, and that kind of takes the pressure off Fable. Like I said earlier, I don't think I ever brought Stealth Rock Fable last season, and I don't think I will be this season either, just because I have rock options on a lot of different other things. So, I can really free up those 4 moves for something else that would be more useful. Um, so yeah, and then Piloswine is also that priority. So, I ended up with like, oh, I need Hitmonlee for priority because I don't have any priority, and then I ended up with like 3 different things for priority. But that's fine. Yeah. But yeah, that's gonna basically do it for this draft. Stay tuned for week 1. I believe I will have the team builder going up the day after this goes up. So it'll be draft analysis, team builder, then battle. So stay tuned for the team builder versus Hunters the Infected and the Texan Trappers. So yeah. Until then, see ya.